Welcome back to another episode of the Kansas City Commercial Real Estate Market Pulse, sponsored by Midwest Commercial Real Estate Advisors, your one-stop shop for all things brokerage, leasing, buying, selling commercial real estate in Kansas City. Before we get started, make sure if you are tuning in regards to LinkedIn, drop your questions down in the comment section. Our team is reviewing those. Just want to give a shout out to Katie Cobb Sullivan, who has been working diligently. We had this idea that back in November, December of 2025, that if we bring out more content than any other Kansas City commercial real estate firm, it's going to be beneficial. Our YouTube has grown by 1,000%. Our LinkedIn is just crested 500,000 impressions on our content for a 30-day period. So we appreciate everyone tuning in and listening to the podcast. It takes a lot of work, and we just appreciate you tuning in. So please do share the podcast, the episodes here, with somebody who might be interested in learning more about Kansas City commercial real estate. This is one of my favorite segments of our show. Today, we're going to be spotlighting one of our newest listings, and I'm joined by my co-host, Nathan Roberts. Nathan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, just trying to keep up with all the amount of leads that we've been getting for this property here. I mean, we just went live on a few platforms yesterday. It's been up on Revere for about a week, and we've had a lot of conversations about this listing here.
Yeah, I mean, I think this asset class has major tailwinds because, truly they're not making more of industrial outdoor storage, right? And I think that has been proven the last 2 to 3 years to be in high demand, especially with all of the logistics and manufacturing moving onshoring or nearshoring. We have talked about that at length. We do have a report. If you would like to know where all of the tenants and businesses are coming from, reach out to Nathan or myself. We did a deep dive analysis on why the tailwind, and it is because jobs have been onshored or nearshored in a big way for the past 3 to 5 years. So happy to share that with you as well. But yeah, man, it's super exciting to see the amount of demand and excitement around this asset class. And this project here, Industrial 19, fits that perfectly, man. So let's get right into it. We like to keep these shows 35, 40 minutes, and we are stacked after this meeting with a lot of people interested in learning more about this project. Already did a deal pitch earlier today, did like 3 yesterday as well. So I don't think it'll be out there for too much longer, but I do want to give everybody the opportunity to ask questions about this type of asset class, industrial outdoor storage and small bay industrial. So Nathan, kick us off, man. Let's go through the offering memorandum for folks. We've got so much information to be able to share, but let's give them an overview of this property here.
Yeah, so Industrial 19, it's located at 2001 East 19th Street in Lawrence, Kansas. The main economic driver there is going to be the University of Kansas. This is a property that has 2 different buildings on it, has about 19,100 square feet. The larger building is 14,500 square feet. Then we have another one that is 4,500 square feet. We're asking $2.95 million for it. Definitely justifiable, just knowing that this property is sitting on 8.73 acres. So this could actually be an industrial outdoor storage deal for a lot of people. And then it also just includes the buildings here. But this building was built in 1986, had some recent upgrades to the mechanical systems a few years back. And I think it'd be a great asset for both an owner user or an investor coming in trying to backfill these tenants once the leases are up in the next couple of years.
Absolutely. Brian Ferguson is saying fully leased flex industrial with upside is exactly the kind of opportunity that investors love. Brian, we couldn't agree more. I think that I was pleasantly surprised to basically see the last week how many different funds have mandated this type of asset to be one of the assets that they are going after in a big way. I mean, we've talked to a number of groups that have raised 75 million, 100 million of equity in funds looking to acquire 7 to 15 of these properties per year. And that's exciting, right? Exciting for owners, but also, it's challenged because it really does drive a lot of the pricing up in this asset class, right? But I think this one in particular in Lawrence, Kansas, is I think a rare opportunity because you could be an owner user, right? That needed this space, right? I mean, we've got 2 industrial buildings, like you mentioned, but we've got about 8.73 acres, right? And it's currently leased to Kennedy Glass and Dynamic Dedicated, right? Generating around $330,000 in annual income. Now, we have been getting a lot of questions around the leases, and we will get there. But Nathan, drop some property highlights in here because I know in the industrial space and industrial outdoor storage, everybody wants to know about power and doors and all of that. So break that down for us here.
Yeah, so typically with buildings, I mean, you have the industrial as the main category, then you have all these different subcategories. We would classify this as flex in warehouse space. It wouldn't be anything for a distribution hub, just knowing that there's no dock high doors. But we do have 5 drive-in doors, ranging from about 10 by 10 all the way up to an 18 by 14 foot size doors, but 5 total. As far as the power, you have 320 amps, 3-phase, and 120 volts. And really the main driver for this property is going to be the land. I mean, you have so much that's really the opportunity there. We do believe that the land is kind of currently under market value, just knowing that lease was put together a few years back.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. What we're going to talk about too is the surrounding area. So we'll pull up a map here shortly and go through that, but we do want to kind of get through some property photos here. So Nathan, you were out there with the drone and everything. What did you see when you were flying this property, man? What stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, really that it's on gravel and really the surrounding area. I mean, we have the parcel, which we're going to talk about right next door to Lawrence, Keystone Innovation District. I mean, that's literally right next door, and you can see that just from some of those drone shots there. But a great thing is, I mean, even looking at some of the photos with the roof, I mean, it looks like it's in really good condition. As far as the interior on the front end side, you do have office. It could kind of operate as like a showroom space as well. And then on the back end, once you walk through those doors is when it's just complete wide open warehouse space.
Yeah, absolutely. So this kind of gives you a look inside of the larger building, 14,600 square feet. You got your warehouse space there. There was some mezzanine space, as you can see in a couple of these photos as well, and a couple of those doors. We've been getting a lot of questions in regards to the build out in the office. Look, I mean, right here, you've got some space right now that could be retail facing that's not really being utilized, right? I mean, it's just kind of dead space right now. The bathrooms and conference room are in the front of the property there, and you can see that they've got some office build out as well. But most of the property is warehouse space, just like this.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're going to talk about the location here in a second on a map, so we won't talk about that too much, but lots going on in regards to Lawrence Venture Park that's right next door, things like that's going on in the area. But let's go through the tenants. Let's talk about what the tenants are, who the tenants are, and the lease terms and what's left on those leases.
Yeah, so Kennedy Glass is the largest tenant that we have there. They're occupying the 14,500 square feet. Right now, they still have a couple years remaining on their lease, so it would expire at the end of July of 2028. But they've been in the space for a few years now. They were actually part of the ownership group at one point in time, and then that ended up getting separated. But that would be the largest tenant there, paying about $13,000 a month in rent. Dynamic Dedicated, they are leasing out 4,500 square feet in about 6 acres as well. So as you can see, the rent is $14,000 a month. Majority of that rent does come from the outdoor storage use, and we do believe that that can be the value at play there. I mean, when you backfill the tenant, that is a huge selling point because there's not many industrial outdoor storage properties around Kansas City. And like Logan kind of mentioned earlier today, they're not building more of that, which means there's a huge demand and supply gap there. I mean, there's very little supply and demand just keeps increasing, especially with the onshoring over the past couple of years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what kind of leases are these, man?
Yeah, so these are modified gross slash industrial gross leases, just meaning that operating expenses are split between the tenant and the landlord. For Kennedy Glass, they are responsible for utilities, insurance, maintenance, repairs. Dynamic, they are responsible for utilities and then also some interior maintenance and repairs. But as you can see, we kind of broke down essentially what the effective lease rate is, and then kind of looking at that monthly rent compared to the annual rent, and then what exactly are the spaces that they're occupying.
Absolutely. Yeah. Reach out to us for more information in regards to those leases. We've got them in our data vaults, so you
Yeah.
can review those leases as well. Dynamic, I think we didn't mention this. They're on the lease until October of this year. They have 2 1-year extensions, and we do believe they are going to exercise at least the first one for sure. I don't know about the second one after that. So we've been getting a lot of questions in regards to that as well. Again, with the market, we're going to talk about that here very shortly on a map, because I think it'll be more helpful. But for folks that maybe aren't as familiar with Lawrence and the Kansas City, area, let's talk through, maybe some rent analysis that you put together here.
Yeah. So as you all know, there's different lease structures that you can have for properties. The most common for an industrial property is going to be either a combination of, it's either going to be triple net or it's going to be some sort of industrial or modified gross lease. Typically with the triple net lease, the base rent is typically going to be a little bit smaller because that tenant is responsible for all of the operating expenses for the property. So the three nets, taxes, insurance, and maintenance for the property. That will range anywhere from about $8 to $11 a square foot. Looking at industrial gross, it does go up about $1 to $2 a square foot, really depending on that lease structure. It's very uncommon to see full service gross lease structures, but if that was the case here, I mean, you're probably looking at around $15 to $17 a square foot just for that base rent.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking from a regional standpoint, we're seeing that Lawrence, Kansas has quite a bit of a premium against Kansas City. Why is that?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely the area. I mean, there's just so many different incentives that have kind of been offered to some of the larger tenants that have moved into the area. That's a big component. Accessibility is a great one right off of K10 highway. KC Mo, it kind of really depends on where you're at in the submarket, but as you start to get on the outskirts of town with great highway accessibility, that's when the lease rates tend to go up. I mean, if you can compare KC Mo to Lenexa, Kansas, for example, I mean, that's a industrial hub. I mean, it's right off the 35 highway. Those base rents are going to be slightly higher for the new product types.
Yeah, most definitely. We have combined and we have a lot of information in regards to the industrial market, in regards to Lawrence and the regional comparisons. So that is in our data room as well. If we have time today, we'll go through that report that we put together for you guys. This just kind of gives you a broad strokes, generalities to have, some comparisons, obviously, too. Okay, so Lawrence, Kansas, around 118,000 people. We got about 50,000 households. Median household incomes right around 62,000. I think that Nathan did a good job talking about, obviously University of Kansas. I know there's a lot of people here. Rock Chalk Jayhawks. I don't know if they won the last night. I know there's been playing a lot of basketball games, but hopefully they can continue on and make it to the tournament and do well there. So very interesting in regards to that. Obviously, University of Kansas, Lawrence Memorial Hospital, public schools, all big drivers there in Lawrence, Kansas. So if you are interested in this property, make sure to contact Nathan or myself. Here's our contact information. You should be able to get a hold of us pretty easily, I would imagine. Lots of people have been reaching out about this property. Let's go to the map, because I think this is what's really interesting. It kind of really helps people understand, maybe what's going on in the area. I'm going to zoom out just real quick, just so everybody gets kind of their bearings, right? So there's K10 Highway, which is kind of the main thoroughfare from Kansas City all the way out to Lawrence, Kansas. But there's our, downtown in our central business district there, right on I-35 and State Line Road right there. North Kansas City is there. Then we head west. Nathan, you had mentioned Lenexa, Kansas, right there on I-35. So that's a main corridor going north-south, right? All the way down from Gardner and Olathe and Lenexa. If you head west, right from Lenexa on K10, you're going to run into DeSoto, Kansas. And DeSoto, Kansas has been a huge driver of economic development over the last few years. Why? Well, because of that building and that company right there, which is Panasonic. Panasonic decided to put a $4 billion EV battery plant in DeSoto, Kansas, which is bringing over 4,000 jobs. They are out there manufacturing now, and they have a lot more development coming just south of that campus. I think they have close to 8 to 10,000 acres of land that's going to continue to be developed there. Additionally, right on K10 here, you're going to see a property here that's kind of highlighted in a building. That's a 1,000,000 square foot building right there. I just want to make that, just give some people a little bit of context. That's 1,000,000 square feet right there. And if you're watching the news in DeSoto, Kansas, you know that is a proposed data center from Beal Infrastructure out of San Francisco. And that is supposed to be a very large project there. So that's driving a lot of economic development, on K10 and just right in the middle of DeSoto. So lots going on, multifamily development in DeSoto, Kansas as well. Then we keep going west. We hit Eudora, a little bit of a smaller town right there as well. And one thing I do want to mention is Merck Animal Health. They are in DeSoto, Kansas right now. They have announced that they are doing a $1 billion expansion on their site there as well in DeSoto. So, I mean, just looking at that, I mean, there's $4 to $5 billion worth of economic development going on this K10 corridor, right? So if we continue west, we run into Lawrence, Kansas, right? And Lawrence, Kansas obviously is where KU is. Like we've mentioned, you can see the University of Kansas over here. But if we kind of zoom in here, what I want to really spend some time on is this Lawrence Venture Park. And if you are interested in learning more about what the Lawrence Venture Park is, it's over a 200-acre economic development is what's going on in regards to there. Van Trust has already built at least 2 buildings, and U.S. Engineering is out there, and I'll show you that building too. So I think over 500,000 square feet of buildings being developed over in Lawrence Venture Park. It's one of the city's largest economic development council's priorities for 2025 and 2026 going forward. So I'm not going to spend too much time because we could spend a whole podcast just going through, how that's going to benefit this site and the spillover effect. But we've got all that information, everything that's going on, the buildings that have been built is in our data room, and it's in a document called the Lawrence Venture Park Ecosystem Overview. Okay, this property also is sandwiched between that and the Lawrence Innovation District. Okay, so the Lawrence Innovation Park is from KU's, it's their innovation park where they're doing a work study program, and a lot of businesses want to be in that innovation park to tap into the talent that they are obviously cultivating at the university. One stat that I want to bring out here is estimates of potential tenants based on internal park knowledge and conversations with those prospects indicate around 136,000 square feet of space is needed. And that is just internal request to the innovation park, right? And that is very much detailed in our Lawrence, Kansas Industrial Market Report, which is also in our data room. So you can look at the vacancy and availability. But check this out. Lawrence, Kansas is one of the tightest industrial markets in the nation, boasting a 1.3% vacancy across 9.37 million square feet of total inventory. That's incredible. I mean, there's zero available options between 10,000 and 150,000 square feet until that anticipated Allen Press facility delivers in late 2026. So very interesting. That's why we're probably seeing that premium over some of the Kansas City markets, right? We've got 9 million square feet in Lawrence. I think in 2024, 2025, 11 million square feet was developed in Kansas City, Missouri. So there you go, supply and demand. So if you want to look at this 11-page report that details the 20% year-over-year rent growth in Lawrence, Kansas, please do reach out to us. We'll send it to you, or you can visit our Crexy, listing. It's got all this information in there for you guys to review as well. But going back to this, so we just talked about that Lawrence Venture Park. Well, here it is, right? There's building number 1, there's building number 2, there's building number 3, and you can see that Lawrence has already spent a lot of money on the infrastructure, improving these roadways. I mean, Venture Park Drive, they've got a stub street going in to future development going on right behind our site here, right? You got a substation right there. I think it was over $64 million of infrastructure was created and done on Venture Park Drive, O'Connell Road, and East 19th Street. So lots going on in regards to the infrastructure there. This greenfield site here is already under construction. When we were out there, we saw those buildings already being built. That is for the Lawrence MSO facility, which is their maintenance and service operations. So they're going on 168 acres just northeast of this property. Additionally, the BNSF Railroad runs right here, right on the intersection of North 1500 Road and this road right here as well. So you can see the rail is coming through right there, which is probably why U.S. Engineering, Amcor, and Hershey's wants to be right there in the Lawrence Venture Park. So we are sandwiched between the Venture Park and the KU Innovation District, and we are one of the last sites that provides industrial outdoor storage with some buildings fully occupied until 2027, 2028, gives you the opportunity to really focus on putting together your plan in regards to what you want to do with this property. So hopefully that was helpful in regards to just bringing up the map. Nathan, did I miss anything in regards to the map and the overview of the area there?
Not much. I mean, I would mention that the fact that there's 500,000 square feet that is anticipated to be developed right next door. So that's a lot of square footage. And as we saw with that report, Lawrence can definitely absorb that amount of square footage. So
yeah, I mean, you got the BNSF rail access, we got K10 highway connectivity, we got the city utilities, water, sewer, fiber optic network are already in place, right? So there's a lot of going on in this area. Additionally, huge economic development support going on there. So you can take a look at this report that we put together here in regards to that. But here's this great map that we put in here, right? Okay. So if you look at this map, you see Venture Park Drive and the blue lots right here. Our site just sits right north in this white bucket right here. This rectangle is our site right here. So you got your detention pond. You've got the substation there. There's the Venture Park. There's lot 5, 6, 4, and 1, which are already under contract. Van Trust Phase 1 is here. U.S. Engineering is right there. There's more to be developed in this area to capture more of that spillover effect. So please do go take a look at that information. Now, Nathan, I want to spin. Oh, hold on 1 second. Carson Baird, my man, must have just given me a call. Carson, shout out, the best mustache in commercial real estate, showing up today for the Spotlight strategy. So this is why you didn't just answer my call on the site. That's right, Carson. I'll give you a call later today. We'll talk through it, but you can also watch this if you would like. Would love to speak with you, man, about this deal. Really cool project. And I know you're crushing it down there in Florida, if I remember it right. So very good that you are showing up here. But Nathan, we've had a lot of questions around industrial outdoor storage and how to think about the ability to lease this out and the supply that's out there, the demand for it, and for lease rates. So what I'd like for you to do is just kind of give us, your take from a national iOS market context, because this, I think, is going to help kind of frame up what the value add opportunity is on our yard.
Yeah, so industrial outdoor storage use, I mean, that's kind of been in high demand or been kind of the talking point the last couple of years. I would say for large scale, like 100,000 plus square foot tenants, industrial outdoor storage kind of doesn't make sense for those type of businesses. But anything that's going to be 50,000 square feet or below, I mean, a lot of those tenants are looking for that, especially with looking at Dynamic. I mean, they're a great example of why you would need that type of usage, or some sort of general contractor that wants to store equipment out there. It's just in high demand, especially in Kansas City. There's just not much of that inventory that's currently out there that's available for lease. So the fact that this property has that is definitely like one of those value add components that we're kind of going to get into in more detail.
I do want to talk about this. Nationally, the United States have seen since 2020 123% rent growth since 2020. So for the last 5 to 6 years, 123% rent growth at 5% nationally on the vacancy rate, right? And there's about 1.4 million acres nationwide for in the United States for industrial outdoor storage, right? So just kind of gives you some context in regards to what we're going to dive into next, which is the lease rate benchmarks. Right now, I know some people look at this per square foot basis, per acre basis. What we're going to do is try to give you a couple averages to kind of think about. And the United States average is around $3,500 to $6,500 per acre per month. Obviously, depending on where you're at, right? And I know that I spoke with one of the groups that was interested in purchasing this property yesterday. They were talking about, some properties out in California can be north of $7,500 per acre per month for iOS, which is just wild to kind of think about, right? So per square foot basis, you're looking at anywhere from 50 cents all the way up to $1.50 per square foot, right? And that was from a report from Grokpedia in January of 2026. Now, we typically are seeing 50 cents to $1 here in the typical Midwest market. So, you think about that, right? If it's $3,500 per acre per month, that's $42,000 per year. You divide that by 43,560, my favorite number in commercial real estate, gets you to 96 cents per square foot per year. Now, if you get up to 6,500, you're all the way up to $1.79. So this can really range quite a bit, right? This is going to be important because we're going to discuss, some opportunities on this site here very soon. But Nathan, you put these comparable land lease data sales for iOS stuff together here in Kansas City. So walk us through a couple of these comps that we've got to show everybody here.
Yeah. So one thing to keep in mind with industrial outdoor storage use, kind of what you can charge per acre depends on what are the services that's being provided. If is it a gated lot? Is it currently paved? Is there cement driveway? Is it more of is it more gravel? Like those are certain amenities that will kind of increase that lease rate. For example, looking at the Brinkelhof, that's a fully gated asphalt parking lot. So that's why that's going for about $1.17 a square foot. So per acre, you're looking at $42.50 a month. Looking at the Collins Roads, that's up north in Smithfield, that's $6,000 a month or per acre. Knowing that that's a fenced-in yard, has lighting, security cameras, things like that. Now, when you start to include things that like a building, for example, you can get upwards of $2 to $3 a square foot. But you're also including that lease rate for the building that you're going to be occupying. So the 24105 West 43rd Street in Shawnee, that's a blended lease rate. So like I mentioned, that includes access to the fenced-in paved yard. And then it also has building RV equipment repair. And then that's also going to include a portion of that building that's being leased out that was on site.
Absolutely. 100%. Thank you for walking us through that. Okay. So just looking at some average Kansas City, Missouri, iOS comparable summary tables, anywhere from 89 cents a square foot, like we mentioned, all the way up to $1.15 a square foot. Feel very good about that kind of being the number, right? Now, Lawrence, Kansas, right, could have a sizable premium because there's 0 dedicated outdoor storage yards currently listed for lease in Lawrence, right? It's very difficult to find any comparable outdoor storage found in either LoopNet, Crexy, CoStar, CityFeet, commercial searches. Okay. So that being said, we think there's probably a premium on our yard. So the subject property here, 2001 East 19th Street, got about 6 acres that dedicated dynamic transportation is currently using, right? It's included in their $168,000 lease. Okay. Now it's got the fence, it's got dedicated access. We got the immediate highway connectivity and we're in the East 23rd corridor right next to the Lawrence Venture Park. Okay. Just keep that in mind here as we continue to go through this. Now, the market rent analysis, we kind of put a couple of different methods together here, right? Just going through, the low end Kansas City benchmark and a mid-range Midwest typical. And we're looking at it from a per square foot basis to be conservative. And then we're looking at it on a per acre basis. Okay. So, and we've got the high end range here as well. So you can kind of look through this and see the numbers. Now, what we're kind of recommending, right, for the rent ranges is conservatively being anywhere between 55 cents to 75 cents per square foot. Okay. Now we think that market premium for Lawrence is going to probably put us somewhere closer to that 75 cents to $1 per square foot. Right. And so that should be for about 6 acres, around $200,000 to $240,000 per year. So 76 cents to 92 cents per square foot, or per month, 16 to 20,000. So per acre, 3,300 to 4,000. So we're right in line kind of with these national benchmarks and Midwest benchmarks, and then a little bit of a premium applied to Lawrence, Kansas, just because of the location and the supply. And we think that there's going to be high demand for this asset. So if you break out the building, and people have been asking, okay, well, what's the value add on this opportunity? Well, let's break this down. They're paying right now $168,000 for a 4,500 square foot building and a 6 acre yard. Okay. So if the building is valued at $12 a square foot, that's around $54,000 per year. So if we remove 168,000, which is what they're paying, minus that 54,000, we're at about $114,000 per year, right? So the implied yard rate is around 44 cents per square foot, right? So we think if we go back to our conservative range around $200,000 per year, right? We have the opportunity to have an $86,000 per year, 75% increase on that yard component alone here, right? So the total lease upside is looking at keeping the building at $54,000, and we add the yard. So we're at $254,000 per year, which is allowing for an $86,000 increase or 51% across the building and the yard, right? So I think that you have the opportunity to really utilize this yard in a big way, which is a big opportunity for the next purchaser here. So we got some other lease recommendations and structures here that you can take a look at. Again, we're going to make this available for everybody so you can take a look at those comps as well as the breakdown of the value add component here on this property. Now, I just kind of want to go back to our project here and just let people know, from a summary standpoint, we like to try to keep these episodes around 30 minutes. You've got a property that's 8.73 acres that's fully leased for the next 18 to 24 months. You got the opportunity to take this yard and get, way more than 44 cents per square foot, right? You've got a building here. Maybe it's one user. Maybe you represent a national tenant and they want to be next to the Lawrence Venture Park and they want to catch over some of that spillover, demand from the area. That's an opportunity for sure. The last thing, this is kind of the icing on the cake. If you are a developer, obviously you could put more buildings on this property, right? This is in an opportunity zone. So if you are an opportunity zone investor or that's important to you, keep in mind that this is in an opportunity zone. We are priced at $2.95 million from the momentum and activity that we have received over the last 7 to 10 days. We do not believe this is going to be for sale or available for very much longer. So if you are interested, please do reach out to Nathan or myself. Nathan's number is 573-355-1810. Nathan at mwcreadvisors.com. You can find my contact information all over the internet. Logan at mwcreadvisors.com. My number is 573-694-9669. A lot of tailwinds going on for a small bay industrial, for industrial outdoor storage. And just want to put up this one more thing from Carson, who is an iOS specialist. He says, you heard it here first. Carson Baird says this is a gorgeous iOS site. So we couldn't agree more. Nathan, what are your closing thoughts, remarks for anybody that has more questions or anything that I left out here on Industrial 19?
Yeah. So, as we mentioned at the beginning, this is truly going to be a great property for an owner user or an investor coming in. Most people will say that for their listings, but looking at the opportunity with the leases coming due in the next couple of years, that's one of the leases is going to be coming due within the next year. We're thinking 2027, if assuming that they don't take that second option. So you'll have 4,500 square feet. You'll have 6 acres, or you could essentially try to backfill that with another tenant that's going to be paying a higher rent. That's going to be more pushed towards market value at that point.
100%. Well, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Kansas City Commercial Real Estate Market Pulse. This is our Spotlight Strategy series where we bring on all the new projects that we're working on. Tomorrow, we are interviewing Joe Perry. The next day, we are interviewing Rod Santamassimo. Next week, we will have another Spotlight Strategy on some multifamily properties out in Hutchinson, Kansas. So if you have any interest in Kansas City commercial real estate, please do reach out to Logan Freeman. That's me. My number is 573-694-9669. Shoot me a text, send me an email, and you can reach out to Nathan Roberts, all things industrial, iOS in the Kansas City metro area. If you're an owner of a commercial real estate property and you're like, man, I got something like that over in Kansas City, I'd be willing to sell it. Please do reach out to us. We are active in this marketplace, and we have at least 4 to 6 real buyers who have raised funds, and they have mandated this as an asset class that they are interested in purchasing over the next 6 to 12 months. So please do reach out to us, send us your site. We'll give you a real quick evaluation of it, and we'd love to work with you as well. There's a lot of demand going on for this, and not all these people who are reaching out to us about this property are going to be able to purchase it. So very excited for that. You can find us at mwcreadvisors.com. Nathan, I know it's been a long day for you. I appreciate you being here already, spending some time with us today and educating everybody on iOS and Industrial 19. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see you all.